Hello and welcome to the latest episode of Millennial Money. My name's Lauren and I work for an online personal finance website called Money to the Masses, and we cover a host of personal finance and investing topics over on our website moneytothemasses.com. Be sure to also follow us over on our social media, so our Facebook Money to the Masses, our Instagram at Money to the Masses, and our Twitter at Money to the Masses, the number 2. So in this week's video I'm going to be talking about credit cards. If you have been considering getting a credit card but are a little bit unsure of what it is and if it is the right thing for you, then I'm going to break down in simple terms what a credit card is and how it works. So what is a credit card? A credit card is a way for you to borrow money. It is essentially a loan. Now there are multiple different types of credit cards, but they essentially all work in the same way. So with a credit card, you are borrowing money off of the credit card company and you are expected to pay back that money. And if you do not pay that money back in a certain time frame, you are subject to interest. Now, credit cards can be great when used correctly. So it's really important that you understand how credit cards work to ensure that you don't get yourself caught up in a large amount of debt. Now, as long as you understand how a credit card works and you use it correctly, you should be able to avoid getting yourself into debt. But a credit card can be extremely useful if you do need a large sum of money or a bit of cash if you are running short one month. So to give you an example of what you can use a credit card for example, if you wanted to go on holiday and your holiday costs £2,000 and you don't have that in your bank account right now, you could pay the holiday up front on a credit card. Now it's really important to understand that you either need to have the money there so you can pay it straight away. Now credit cards do offer protection under Section 75 of the Consumer Credit Act. Now that does mean if anything is to go wrong with your payment, or the company goes bust for example, or you can't go for a certain reason within the terms and conditions of the Section 75, you may potentially be able to get your money back with the credit card company. So there is a little bit of security when you make a payment with a credit card, which is why some people may use it to make a large purchase such as a car or a holiday, even if they have the money there. Now, if you are using a credit card to pay for something when you don't have the money, you are essentially getting a loan. For example, I used a credit card a few years ago to pay for a holiday. Now, I had a 0% purchase credit card because there are different types of credit cards, and this particular one allowed me to make a large purchase and pay off the balance over a series of months. So how do credit cards work? Now there are different ways that you can use a credit card. You can either make regular monthly payments onto the credit card, or you can pay the full amount off each month. Now when you get your credit card, you will receive a monthly statement, and on that statement it will explain the total amount owed on the credit card and the minimum amount that is due on the credit card, as well as when the payment is due. Now, when the payment is due is very important, as something has to be paid on the credit card by this date, or you may be subject to late payment fees. Now this is when it can start to get expensive. Ideally, when having a credit card, it is best to pay off the full amount each month to avoid any interest. However, as I briefly touched on earlier, you can have a 0% interest credit card. So if you do have a 0% interest purchase credit card, you may have a set amount that is interest free for a certain period of months. Now, if this is the case, you will not have to pay any interest on the balance for the set series of months agreed when you open the credit card. However, when this period ends, you will have to pay the agreed interest rate when you opened the credit card. Now this is when it gets expensive, because if you are only paying the minimum amount back on the credit card, you end up paying more in interest than you would like to, because it drags out the amount of time that you're paying the balance off for. So the best way to manage money and manage a credit card is to understand how credit cards work. So credit cards is borrowing money that you do not have. Now if you are borrowing money because you don't have the money there available, you need to remember that you must have to pay it back. Now the best way to be able to pay back your credit card is to set up a direct debit or a standing order so that the money goes out each month, and treat the payment as a bill. This means that you will never default on your credit card payment, because defaulting on your credit card payment can negatively impact your credit score, and it can cause you further problems when it comes to borrowing money later down the line. Also, Always try to pay more than the minimum when paying back a credit card, because otherwise you will end up paying a large amount of money over a longer period of time, because each month you're paying the minimum amount of the remaining balance. So for example, if you had £100 on a credit card and you had a minimum amount of £5 a month, the next month, if you have paid the minimum, you will now be paying the minimum amount on £95 instead of £100. So the minimum amount that you are paying will reduce each month. Therefore, the length of time that it takes to clear the balance on the credit card will also increase. So I hope this video has been useful. It's just a brief summary of what a credit card is and how it works. We also go into a bit more detail on the Money to the Masses website of the different types of credit cards available, how you can pick and choose the best one for you, and there's all the information that you will need on the best credit cards out there. So be sure to check out the moneytothemasses.com website. So that's it for this week. Thank you so much for watching.